Hey, what's up, everybody? I told you we'd be at a different location today. This time we're going to bring it indoors after the other day's massive fail from my car. So we're going to bring it inside. I'm wearing a t-shirt in a hockey rink. It's not that cold in here. Sometimes it gets a little warm, actually. And you wouldn't think that, but, here we are. All right, well, since we're at a hockey rink, let's go ahead and start with the NHL from a couple of days ago. Of course, on Wednesday night, there were a few games in play, 3 of them to be exact. We started things with the Canadiens and Capitals. It was game 2 of that series. Capitals win it 3-1. Logan Thompson went absolutely off in between the pipes, the goaltender for Washington. He made 25 saves in 26 attempts to get that 3-1 victory. So they lead the series 2-0, and they will head north of the border to Montreal for game 3. Second game of the day, we switched over to Denver, the Avalanche hosting their first home game of these playoffs. But they fell in overtime 2-1 to the Dallas Stars. Overtime game winner by Tyler Seguin pushed the Stars out in front, not just 2-1 in the game to win it, but also 2-1 in the series. They will play game number 4 in Denver on Saturday night. They actually got 2 days off in between the 2 games in Denver for some reason, because people don't know how travel works in 2025. The final game of the night was out in LA. It was game 2, Kings and Oilers. My goodness, the Kings put up another half a dozen on Edmonton. They win it 6-2, and they take a 2-0 series lead. They're going to play game 3 up in Edmonton tonight. That will probably be the game to watch in the Stanley Cup playoffs this evening, because the Kings can really put a stranglehold on those Oilers if they can get a dub north of the border up in Alberta tonight. Shifting gears to last night, 4 more games in the league, so 7 over the past 2 nights. The first one yesterday, it didn't take a whole lot from Sergei Bobrovsky, but a 19-save shutout as Florida takes down Tampa Bay 2-0. They win both games over at their big brother's house in Tampa, and they lead 2-0. They get to go back home to Sunrise for game number 3 over the weekend. They can really put the foot on the throat of the Lightning, but hey, that's what defending champs do. Panthers trying to repeat this year, of course. The second game of the night, another overtime thriller, Maple Leafs and Senators. Toronto went to Ottawa and took game 3 in overtime. Simon Benoit with the game-winning overtime goal. They lead the series 3-0 over the Ottawa Senators, and this thing's got sweep written all over it. Sens will try to keep things alive at home in game 4 coming up. Third game of the day, the Wild at home against the Vegas Golden Knights, and they took them out back behind the woodshed. 5-2 was the final score there. Kirill Kaprizov had a couple of power play goals in that one to give the Wild a 2-1 series lead, so they held serve with home ice advantage after taking a game in Vegas in the first 2. So they lead 2-1. They'll have another home game to try to push the Knights to the brink. We'll see if they can do it. Last game of the night, last night, we had our first touchdown of the playoffs, and that was scored by the St. Louis Blues. They beat Winnipeg 7-2 to get their first win of the postseason. That series now 2-1 in favor of Winnipeg. It was a 5-point night for Cam Fowler, who used to call this place right behind me home for a very long time. A goal and 4 assists for Cam in the win for St. Louis. So let's look at the NHL from the last couple of days. We'll switch over to basketball, and yeah, we're still going to talk about it while here in a hockey rink. All right, over to hoops in the National Basketball Association. Magic and Celtics got game 2 underway a couple nights ago. No Jason Tatum for Boston, no problem. They win 109-100, win both games over the Magic at home. They lead 2-0. Jaylen Brown, 36 points in the win for the Celtics. So they'll shift that series over to Florida. The Magic will get a home game for a couple nights, and the way they've been playing, it might be their last couple nights. We'll find out. Cavaliers took down the Heat 121-112 at home. They lead the series 2-0. Nice night for Donovan Mitchell, 30 points for him in the winning effort, as that series also will shift to Florida. They'll go a little bit further south, down to Miami. Final game of the night, 109-94. The Houston Rockets are on the board. They split their 2 home games with the Golden State Warriors. Nice night for them. They really needed it, because Golden State is a rare favorite as a 7 seed. And they did steal home court advantage away, so they'll get to go back home to San Francisco and try to do the same thing and get another win at home and try to put these Rockets away earlier than people may have expected. And then last night in the NBA, there were 3 more games. First one was over Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, and the Knicks went in and stole home court advantage right back, getting a win on the road in Detroit. Big night for Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. They combined for 61 points. Towns had 31 of those, Brunson with the other 30. And yeah, the Knicks, they get back out on top. They lead the series 2-1. Game 4 will be in Detroit as well. Middle game of the night, Grizzlies and Thunder. Now, if you're Memphis, the one thing you don't want to do in the playoffs is blow a 29-point lead. And they listened to that advice, right? All right? Nope. They blew it. Thunder came storming back. They won 114-108. The bigger story might have been Ja Morant, who left the game with a hip injury, was seen on crutches after the game. Not a great sign if you're Memphis. They now trail 3-0. Thunder can wrap it up in Memphis in game number 4. And then the final game of the night, the Clippers at home just decimated Denver 117-83. Big night for the Clips. They lead the series 2-1. They get one more home game at Intuit Dome before perhaps trying to close things out in the Mile High City. So we'll see if they can pull that off. Well, that's it for today. Glad you could join me here inside of this hockey rink, which isn't too cold, like I mentioned earlier. I miss hockey already, at least, what I do regularly. A lot of you know that I'm at this rink a lot. So it's good to be back here in the off season for us, but thanks for sticking around. This has been Rundown. We'll talk to you next week, everybody.